What's up everyone, and welcome on back. Thank you so much for joining me on yet another video. If you are one of my returning subscribers, thank you so much for coming back. I am happy to see you. And if this happens to be your first time stopping upon my channel and you have no idea who I am, hello, my name is Monet, and here on this channel I am dedicated to sharing my finances. I've been documenting my financial journey, getting out of debt and saving using the cash envelope system for the past 5 years. So if you are interested in seeing how I started, definitely be sure to check those old videos and join the family. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if this is your first time. Join the family and hit the bell so that you are always notified whenever I upload my next video. So if you're one of the regular subscribers, I know it's been a minute since I've uploaded a video. I think it's been a month. I did just come back from a 3-week European cruise / trip, and I am just so happy I was able to go ahead and do that. So I am trying to jump back into reality coming home from my trip, but it was amazing. So if you're wondering where I was, that is what happened. I really didn't tell you guys that it was coming up. It kind of just popped up. So if you missed that video, I understand. But overall, the trip was a surprise for my cousin. So I didn't want to mention it until it was almost time for us to go. So that is where I've been. So definitely let me know down in the comments below. When I did put out the news, some people said that they were interested in seeing my travel. I did record a little bit, but it's not like a vlog style. But if you're interested in seeing where I went and how the scenery was, and maybe I can share like how much it costs and everything, let me know if that's a video that you guys are into and I can try and work that up. But getting into today's video, you guys, I had to make myself a little snack. I have me a little drink because now that we are back into reality, we need to get back into budgeting. I'm not gonna lie, I fell off a little bit for the last couple of months because that trip was the only thing that I was really focusing on. But now that I'm back, I need to hone it in, get back to my things that work for me, and that definitely starts with budgeting for the month. So if you're unfamiliar with my monthly budget resets, typically I like to close out the month prior, which is going to be September, and then we're going to start budgeting for the month of October. Even though we're in the middle of the month, this is when the October month starts for myself. So I still want to go ahead and budget it just so that I can get my bearings and stay on budget for this month, because we're creeping into the holiday season. And if you don't get your finances in order, it can definitely get out of hand. So if you're interested in seeing how I'm going to budget all of that out, then of course, just keep on watching. Okay, so getting into the budget template, if you aren't familiar, this is what I use to help me budget for the month. This template I did create myself, and if you are interested in it and you find that it's helpful, it is available within my website. I will leave the links for all of that down below. And I have some exciting news regarding my template. If you are a regular subscriber, you know I've been working on some tweaks and some suggestions that you guys have been wanting to be added to this template. And I'm going to say, hopefully by the start of November is when I want to launch. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm trying to call it. I guess it's like the budget template 2.0, but by November I want to at least launch the new version. And for the new version, I'm going to add some tweaks, and I'm going to be putting out a monthly template and a budget by paycheck template. So I know that is something that you guys have voiced that you would really appreciate, for those who don't just budget monthly like myself, but you prefer to budget by paycheck. So I am hoping to have both of those templates out for you by November. So be on the lookout for that. And as always, I wanted to thank you for the support that you guys showed within this template, because obviously I would not be putting out another one if you guys didn't see it beneficial, and it's really helped me as well. So I'm just happy that I can help you guys and that you are enjoying it. But as of right now, we're still going to use the old template, which I still personally enjoy, but you know, just wanted to give you guys a heads up. Okay, so first things first, as I said, we are going to be closing out for the prior month, which is going to be September. So I'm going to go ahead and filter on remaining actual so that then we can go ahead and fill in our numbers for September. So first we will look at our income sources, and here we have my month ahead fund, and I added a new category since I'm still adjusting to my new environment, and I notated this as payout. If you aren't familiar, currently I am unemployed. Right now I'm staying with my cousin, which I appreciate so much, and now that the trip is out of the way, I am getting into job searching and finding a job, so wish me luck with that. We know the job market is pretty treacherous, but I'm remaining hopeful. But as of right now, I am living off of my month ahead fund, which is basically money that I'm putting in from any income that I'm earning from social media, from my shop, and that's kind of keeping me afloat until I get a full-time job. And then this payout section is basically the paycheck that I give to myself from my business. So after I've taken out taxes, after I've put money back into the business, this is what I consider a paycheck to me. And any money that I earn within the month of September goes into the month ahead fund to support me for next month. So hopefully that makes sense. In my mind, I'm still trying to figure out a method that works the best for me. And right now that's what I've come up with. So to input our actuals, I know I didn't do a budget video with you guys for September because it was just a hectic month. But for the month, I budgeted lower than normal just because I knew I wasn't going to be here for half of the month because of my trip. So I budgeted $1,000, but I actually only took out $900 from my month ahead fund to support me for the month of September. And in terms of the payout that I earned from my side income for the month, pretty light just because I wasn't active and I was gone. So that's $823 that I gave myself for a paycheck, and like I said, we're going to dump that straight into the month ahead fund to support me later on. All right, so looking at our total for remaining actual that we are budgeting for the month, that is $1,723. So let's go ahead and see how I decided to divvy that out. All right, so getting into my bills, it is light, which I am very thankful for. As of right now, I really only have one bill due to me being able to stay with family and the fact that I am debt-free. So I really don't have that much bills, which is really helping me during this time. So right now I'm just paying for a storage unit where I keep all of my apartment related things that I wasn't able to bring to my cousin's home. And that's $145 for the month that I pay there. So paid that, of course. And if we scroll over to my expenses, let's see what I gave myself for the month here. For gas, I budgeted $50, but ultimately I only allocated $40 towards that category for the month. Spending, I gave myself $125 budgeted, but actually only gave $100 for the month. Groceries, also budgeted a little lower with $100, but only needed $70 since I was gone. Toiletries, this was the big one that I knew was going to be a lot because I did have to pay for my hair to get braided. So that's where I took the money out of there. I budgeted $230. Ultimately, I had to give a little bit more, which was $250. And that was because I wanted to get my eyebrows done as well. And then I had to pick up some last minute toiletry related things for the trip. So a little bit higher there. Clothing, I budgeted nothing for the month of September. There was no need for me to buy clothes. I was going to be traveling. And then eating out, I budgeted $50, and $50 is what I gave myself there. So scrolling over to my savings and sinking funds. As for annual payments, I had paused that for the past couple of months because I didn't really have anything due and I didn't want to put money unnecessarily to that sinking fund. So nothing was given there for the month. For car maintenance, I budgeted $20 and I did give myself $20 there. Car insurance budgeted $50, also gave myself $50. Christmas was budgeted with $20 and I gave $20 there. Gifts, I budgeted $10, but I only gave $5 within that category. Household received nothing and neither did medical. And then travel, I wanted to give myself a little bit more money for my upcoming trip. So I budgeted $100 and I actually gave myself $150 there. And then emergency fund, it is on pause right now. I have it currently at $12,000. So as of right now, that's comfortable for me. And then here we have the month ahead fund. And as I said, anything that we earned from the payout. So here we see for the month that was $823 that I earned. So I'm going to put that $823 straight into that sinking fund, so that then it can be accounted for and I'll have a nice new total to see what I am working with within that sinking fund. And then as for my Roth IRA, I did want to give myself $100, but I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot this month and I didn't have the time to do it. So I am trying not to get off track with that. I'm trying not to beat myself up about it, but sadly, it was nothing I put there. As for debt, that is blank. As I said, I am debt free. So if we scroll back to the beginning, we see we are down to 0 and everything was able to be allocated. And that's how I like to do things at a zero-based budget. So if we scroll down to the income summary and see overall how things shaked out to how I actualized compared to how I budgeted. Starting with the income, we budgeted $1,000, came in at $1,723. So that was a difference of an increase of $723 there. Bills budgeted $145. We only have that one bill, so no difference there. We did exactly that. As for expenses, budgeted $555 and came in under, which is good, at $510 there. As for savings, able to add more, but it's kind of not entirely reflective because we know it only got increased because I'm putting money towards my month ahead fund, but still showing the difference. So an increase of $868 difference compared to what I thought I was going to put in. And then investments, we are down the $100 because we didn't add the $100 that I was supposed to towards my Roth IRA, but still came to a zero-based budget. And again, that is how I like to do things. Coming up here and looking at the pie chart, I like to just see a little breakdown in terms of percentages. It is very, very much different because that month ahead fund is always screwing the pie chart. But just to look at how we actually came in, bills took up 8.4% of my income, expenses at 29.6%. And then savings at 62% within there. And then I also have a pie chart for my savings breakdown just to show myself what I'm prioritizing in terms of savings. And no surprise, month ahead is the bulk of it. So about 77% went towards there. And then my sinking funds are making up the rest of the pie. So the next thing that I like to look at in terms of the month of September and what I did is scrolling down to my expense tracker and seeing in terms of my variable expenses, which is like my daily spending, how did I do? Again, very light because I wasn't here for half of the month, but still worth seeing how I acted with my money. So if we go ahead and look at my expense tracker, these are the categories that I track. So whatever I type here within my expenses, those are the categories that will be tracked down here within my expense tracker. As for gas, totaling up what I spent for the month, that was $51. And if we put a little check mark here, it'll highlight how many times I got gas. So gas I got 2 times for the month. And looking at the pie chart, that was about 8% of my spending that I did there. Checking off spending, that was a total of $195 for the month that I spent within there. At the pie chart, that's 31.2%, so that's the second largest one. A lot of these expenses were, again, me just prepping for the trip. So I went to Walmart and got some things that was $60. Bought some things off of Amazon that was $65. And guys, you will not believe it, but while I was on my trip, my suitcase broke. The whole wheel came off. So when we were in Paris, I had to buy an entire new suitcase, which is crazy. So I took that out of my spending, which was $50. As you'll see later, I do have like a sinking fund for travel where all of my spending that I did on the trip, I took out of there. But when I came home, I decided I was just going to take the $50 for the suitcase out of my spending since, you know, technically it shouldn't have been a travel expense. But that was just crazy. It was like, of all things, that would happen to me. So that was my spending for the month there. Looking at groceries, I didn't even realize I didn't even buy any groceries this month. So that came out to $0. I guess there was nothing for me to buy. I could have sworn I went to the grocery store, but I guess not. Looking at toiletries, that was $283. So that is the biggest percent of the pie at 45%, and that's largely due to my hair. It was $210 to do the hair, and plus I tipped the woman that did my service. And then I also went to Ulta and picked up some makeup and things before I left for the trip. So those were the biggest expenses there. Looking at clothing, I spent $50 on Amazon. My cousin and I, because we went to Disney Paris, we had like this little outfit that we wanted to put together, and we wanted to be matchy-matching. If I can, I'll insert a clip. We were trying to be Ariel from Little Mermaid, so she was like the human version and I was the mermaid version. Really cute. So we got some accessories and stuff for that off of Amazon. And then lastly was eating out. That was a total of $47 for the month, and that was 7.5%. So the next thing I look at is my remaining check-in section within my expense tracker. So this left to spend section is what I focus on the most, because this is basically telling me currently where my envelopes are sitting entering into next month. And depending on when I'm going to get paid again in the next month, this is the money that I have to work with. They are pretty low, and I am about to do a cash stuffing literally tomorrow. So not too concerned, but that is just where I like to gauge where I am to set me up for the next month. But in terms of closing out my budget for the month, that is really all I do. I feel like sometimes it's not as exciting because I don't have that many bills and everything, but hopefully you guys are still enjoying the content during this transition time in my life. Let me know. I still want it to be helpful, and I'm just trying to show that even when it's trying times, I'm still trying to be smart and strategic with my money. I feel like that's just something that I can't shake anymore ever since I started this journey. But now that we are done with the monthly portion, I do want to go ahead and go to my savings tracker just to update those and update my sinking funds and show you guys where I am sitting regarding those numbers. All right, so here we are with my savings tracker. Once again, this is just where I document my sinking funds and see where I'm sitting. If I take any money out of them, this is where I highlight that. And it's just a nice overlook to see overall where everything is. So right now, before we make any adjustments, the total for my savings is at $30,720. Here's a list of all of my sinking funds, my emergency fund, my home fund, and then my month ahead fund. So if we scroll over to the savings withdrawal tracker, we're going to go ahead and highlight everything that I did for the month of September. So I just notated as the first of whatever month I'm speaking to. And the first thing I'm going to do is my foreign currency exchange. So before we left for the trip, since we were going to various places, just to highlight, we went to Norway, Germany, Poland, Paris, Finland, Sweden. It was a lot of places, and this is my first international travel of any sort in my life. So I was traveling with experts. My cousin and her mom, they travel all the time. So whatever things that they suggested I do, that's what I did. So I did get some currency exchange for some of the places that we went to, and I went ahead and took that out of my travel fund, and that was a total of $330 that I took from that sinking fund to do that. Then, to keep on the same trend, I'm going to highlight all of my spending that I did on the trip. Since we went on a cruise, if you are familiar, a lot of the cruise, you don't have to pay a lot while you're there. You basically pay everything up front, which is why I really enjoy a cruise. So the bulk of the trip was on the cruise, and then we spent about 4 days in Paris to do Disneyland and, travel around Paris. So all that to say, it wasn't a lot I had to spend from this sinking fund because, as I said, most of the cruise expenses was paid for, and the money that I took out for the foreign currency, I spent that money while I was there. So in total, it was only $170 I had to pay off my credit card when I came back from all of my traveling, and that was me getting like souvenirs and eating out and stuff like that when we were in Paris. And then the last thing that I'll notate for the month is the money that I gave myself for my September budget. So I'm going to take that out of my month ahead fund. And as we saw, I spent $900. So that's $900 I'm going to take out of this sinking fund so that then I can get my actual remaining money for my month ahead fund. So in terms of my sinking funds, that's all I did. So with all of those changes, that will now put my total for all of my savings at $29,320. And all of that looks good to me. And now we are ready to go ahead and budget for October. All right, so here we are for the month of October. Looking at when I'm going to pay myself, I still like to keep a habit of paying myself bi-weekly. That's just what I'm used to. So I try to pay myself twice a month and then break it out for the overall total that I'm working with. But I'm going to treat my paychecks as if I'm getting paid on October 10th and then October 24th. So those two pays will support me for the next 2 upcoming weeks within the month. And I'm gonna make sure we are filtered on remaining to budget. So that looks good. So the numbers will reflect our budgeted. And then in terms of income source, we have our month ahead fund, and I'm not gonna put anything for payout because I like to wait until the end of the month just to see how everything happens in terms of what I can earn. So we will fill that out when we are closing out October. But for now, we're just gonna work with my month ahead fund, and I'm gonna budget $1,500 that I'm gonna take out for the month of October to support me for my expenses. And we'll see how it actually plays out at the end. So getting started with bills, of course, we have our storage unit that's due on the 12th, and that's $145 that will be coming out for that. Getting into my expenses, and for gas, I'm gonna give myself $80 for the month. Probably won't use that much, but I just like to put it there just in case. As for spending, I'm gonna give myself $300 for the month. Since I'm with my cousin, as I told you guys, I left my last state because I was just very alone and isolated. None of my friends live there, none of my family live there, so I'm really trying to capitalize on this opportunity with my cousin and hang out with her and do things. So now that it's spooky season, we might go out, do something, so putting that there in case we decide to do something together. As for groceries, I'm gonna give myself $200, but honestly, the fridge is kind of stocked, and I feel like I have to work through the food that I have before I keep buying more things. So honestly, probably won't use that much within groceries. Looking at toiletries, gonna give myself $90. I might have to bump that up because we need toilet paper, paper towels, and laundry detergent and all that stuff. And regarding those things, typically I like to just use my own things, and then my cousin has hers, but sometimes we just share. It's just whatever the day goes is how we split things. As for clothing, I'll just give myself $40. I'm really not in a clothing shopping mood, but I'll give it a little something something so that then whenever I do get the urge, I'll have some cash there. Eating out, giving $100, but I don't know. I feel like that's a little bit high, but like I said, we might go out and do things this month. It's coming into the holiday season. You know, I might be out and about, so I'm just trying to protect myself as best I can. Moving in to savings. For my sinking funds, we have annual payments, and I am going to start putting money back into this because some things are due. And towards the beginning of the new year is when a lot of my annual payments are due. So I'm just gonna start putting some things in there to get me in a good spot. So I'm gonna add $35 to that this month. As for car maintenance, I'm going to add $40. Car insurance, I'm gonna add $100. Christmas, I am bumping this up a little bit more than usual. I'm also adding $100 here just because I feel like it's a little bit light. I feel like this is the lightest Christmas has been since I started my sinking funds, but I know that I'm going to be hanging out with family. So I'm just trying to put something in there so I can shop and look for things for some family. Gifts is another one that's getting a little bit more than usual. That's getting $85, and that's because the month of October is my best friend's birthday, and every year I don't know what to give her, so I just give her $100 and let her figure it out. And this time my sinking funds envelope is low, so I got to add $85 to give me a total of $100 so that I can give that to her, because her birthday is next week. Just putting that in there. Household is not getting anything. Medical is not getting anything. Travel is getting $185. Even though I just came back from a trip, travel is about to get used again because I have flights that I need to book for November and December because of the holiday season. But given the state of the world, I don't even know what's going on. But just in case I need to book some flights to go see family, either way, I'm gonna have to take a train, a drive, or something. So I'm accounting for the fact that that money will need to be used to get me to where I need to get to. And then I believe that's everything. So yeah, that gets me down to a zero. And again, very unfortunate that my Roth IRA is not getting anything. If the month shakes out better, I do want to put some money in there just because I didn't do it last month. But as of right now, I just felt like it was a lot of things going on, and I don't know. I need to prioritize my Roth IRA, and I'm trying not to kick myself in the butt, but funds need to be allocated as best as I can right now until I get a job, honestly. So as for the month of October, I feel like that is how I'm going to do that. Looking at the income summary and seeing how everything shakes out, we're starting with an income of $1,500. We have $1,045 going towards bills, a total of $810 going towards expenses, $545 going towards savings, and that's it. That brings us to a leftover of $0. In terms of percentages, that means bills is getting about 10% of my income, expenses is getting 54%, and savings is sitting at 36%. So the last thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is just fill out my expenses remaining. So entering this rollover balance to reflect how I ended September with these dollars right here, so that once I begin filling my expense trackers, the left to spend formula will be correct with whatever number I have left. So we saw that gas had $62 remaining, spending had $40, groceries had $95, toiletries with $22, clothing with $20, and eating out had $33. In total, that is everything, you guys. Again, hopefully you enjoyed, hopefully you followed, but that is how I'm going to try and get myself back on track for this month. So if you guys made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments below, how is your October shaking out? Because I'm sure a lot of you guys have already budgeted for the month. How has the last couple of months been? I feel like it's been a minute since we checked in. I'm still trying to catch up on you guys' comments from a couple of months ago, so give me a minute. But for those that were wondering, I'm still here. Thank you for wondering. But yeah, we're just trying to get back into routine. Hopefully I can, get back on track and be consistent with some videos this month. I feel like this whole year I've been slacking a little bit. I know, I'm sorry. I just feel like this is a lot going on in my life right now, and it's a very trying season, and I'm trying to keep it together. But regardless, hope you guys enjoy. Send me your love, send me your support. Hit the thumbs up on this video because that lets me know that you guys are still enjoying this type of content. And yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling. I hope you enjoy your week, your weekend, whenever you're watching this, and I will catch you all next time within my next video. Bye guys.